One of the biggest surprises of the wildcard weekend wasn't that the Bills beat the Patriots. The big surprise was how badly they beat them. I expected your typical back and forth 3-point game, but then all of a sudden Buffalo was up 20 before halftime even began. In this game, Josh Allen was absolutely incredible. It was the best game of his season, and I can even argue it was one of the best games of his entire career. Allen converted 84% of his passes, he gained 308 yards through the air, and more impressively, he threw 5 touchdowns. On top of all that, he ran for another 66 yards on the ground. In this video, I want to talk about this game in detail. We'll look at Josh Allen and the Bills' offense. We'll also talk about what went wrong for the Patriots' defense as well. Before we begin, if you could do me a huge favor and like and subscribe to the channel, I'd greatly appreciate it. To start this game, the Patriots attempted to use a bunch of too high looks before the snap in order to confuse Allen to making a mistake. Their goal was that if they can get Allen to read the play incorrectly from the start, they can force him to an error when they jumped into the real coverage after the snap. Many of these too high disguises ended up being cover 3 and cover 1 robber. However, Allen didn't fall for any of this. For example, a flood concept is a great play against a too high shell. With the go route pulling the half safety out of the way, the middle and low route should create a high-low read on the underneath cornerback. This would become an easy decision for Allen to make his throw. However, Allen knew this was a disguise. He knew they were running some sort of one high coverage here. So instead of getting stuck and being forced into a checkdown situation, Allen knew to throw the ball to Stephon Diggs immediately after the snap. This is a brilliant play by Allen. If the Patriots were actually in cover 2 like they wanted us to believe, this throw would have been dead because the hook roll linebacker would have been there to stop it. Instead, this is a very quick throw on first down and it gained 9 yards. Perfect accuracy and perfect anticipation. Outside of the first drive or so, the Patriots defense stopped trying as hard to disguise their coverage before the snap. They pretty much abandoned any sort of too high look for the rest of the game. I think this was a mistake. For how much the Bills love crossing routes, I feel like a too high look or even Tampa 2 really could have helped this defense. Instead, the Patriots flashed a one high look before the snap, and then they still ran one high afterwards. This made it very easy for Allen to read out the play. The offense would then use motions to figure out the defense was in man or zone, and this became a pretty reliable indicator against his defense. Anytime he got man coverage, for instance, he almost always looked for a crossing route from the slot or anyone over the middle of the defense. If this was his tight end or somebody else, Allen found that matchup and he took advantage of that route. Here's an example that happened in the second quarter. We have a spear concept to run out of shotgun. With defenders lining up over the trips bunch at the bottom of your screen and the sole defender heads up over the top, the Patriots are likely in man coverage. They were playing cover 1 man here. They ended up rushing 5 while leaving their cornerbacks with one-on-one matchups and the single high safety deep. After the snap, Allen will read the seam route, then he'll move on to deep over coming from the right side of your screen. Following that, you'll then find the opposite side of the field crosser. Since crossing routes are deadly against man coverage, the hope is that one of these routes will be open. Let's see what happens. After the snap, the safety was sitting on top of the first crosser while Kyle Duggar sat on his hip and trail. This throw isn't open, so Allen then moves on to his other crosser, Gabriel Davis, coming from the opposite side. He sees Davis accelerating away from his defender after a quick jab step release, and he's getting open by the 50-yard line. Allen does a great job shifting in the pocket to set this throw. He sees his wide receiver open, throws a high but catchable pass to his target, and then Davis brought it in for a 22-yard gain. Before we look at some of Allen's designed runs and how that impacts his defense, I want to give a huge shout out to Albert for sponsoring this week's video. If you don't know Albert, they are an app that replaces your traditional bank account. Unlike traditional banks that charge $35 overdraft fees and that don't give you cash back on your debit card purchases, Albert is the opposite. They're free to sign up and they're super easy to use. They never charge you overdraft fees, so that's a thing of the past. Also, if you're ever in a pinch for money, they'll even spot you if you need it. Say you're at a gas station and you realize you don't have the cash to pay, they'll let you advance up to $250 from your next paycheck. You can pay it back with no interest and no credit check. Make sure you download to see what you qualify for. On top of that, Albert will also help you manage your finances. They have a team of experts called geniuses that will help you make a plan and will answer any questions if you get stuck. Click the link in the description box to download the Albert app today. For limited time only, and when you open a checking account at Albert and connect a qualifying direct deposit, you'll get $150. I highly recommend giving it a try. So back to the breakdown, outside of beating one high coverages, another thing the Bills did was they used Josh Allen in designed runs. I mentioned this before, but in addition to Allen's 308 yards and 5 touchdowns through the air, he also gained 66 yards on the ground. You can't do this with many quarterbacks. Allen being a runner adds +1 to the running game, and since the offense will use empty set shotgun formations, Allen will automatically face lighter boxes to run against. Plays like this simply aren't fair. Additionally, this also benefits the other players in the backfield. Since Allen is that +1 threat as a ball carrier, defenses have to honor him, which automatically gives its offensive line a numbers advantage in the other direction. This run happened at the start of the second quarter. You have power read out of shotgun with Singletary in the backfield. After the snap, Allen will fake like he's running to the opposite side while the front side tight end stiff blocks across. Meanwhile, the center and the backside tackle will pull to run power. With all this misdirection, the offensive line easily gets their angles. The nose tackle is sealed backside, the linebacker too, and all Singletary has to do now is take the ball and hit the hole hard. He does that, and he gains a very easy 9 yards on 2nd and 10. This set up a 3rd and 1, which the offense converted to keep the drive going. Speaking of third downs, this game time situation was really the nail in the coffin against this defense. On the lone drives when the Patriots were able to even force a 3rd down in the first place, the Bills still made a big play. The Bills went 6 for 7 on 3rd downs. What's funny is that the only 3rd down they didn't convert was actually Mitch Trubisky when he kneeled the ball on 3rd down to end the game. This was the only time the Patriots defense technically got a stop. So really, in reality, the Bills went 100% on 3rd downs that mattered. The unfair part of this game for the Patriots defense was that even if Allen or somebody else in the Bills offense made a mistake or did something very wrong, the Bills were somehow rewarded anyways. Like even if Allen should have made a throw for a quickie underneath, he would then turn that down for no reason to escape the pocket and still create a big play on the ground. This happened in the first quarter. If I was Josh Allen, I would have thrown the ball to the tight end. This is an easy 7-yard play and potentially a 1st down if Allen got the ball out quickly. On 2nd and 10, pretty much every coach would have told their quarterback to take this throw. However, Allen still turned it down. He then proceeded to escape the pocket to his left, juked a defender in space, and he gained 26 yards on the play. Now, process should always be stressed over results. If Allen was sacked for not taking this easy throw, he would be rightfully blamed for that mistake. But on the other hand, when your quarterback can get you 26 yards on the ground, you obviously can't be mad. The final thing I'm going to say, and this was very apparent on that last play, was that Allen rarely faced any pressure in this game. He was pressured on just 7 of his dropbacks, and many of his throws featured him standing in the pocket for 3 to 4 full seconds before he even had to move. Even when the Patriots did get pressure, Allen made the most of it. He broke tackles, he threw the ball accurately even from an ugly platform, and he consistently put his team in a good position to make plays. Outside of the few pressures, Allen was given a long time in the backfield. His first touchdown, for example, was like that. Allen held onto the ball for 9 full seconds before he threw it. Now, the thing about the Patriots defense is that they love running 3-man stunts. They will take 2 inside rushers to penetrate, and then they'll loop an edge rusher from all the way from a 9 technique outside the tight end to rush him through the A-gap near the center. These stunts are very hard to defend because the interior defensive lineman will get pressure, and the longer loop by the edge rusher will get there with a clean hole to run through. However, in this game, the Bills' offensive line was ready. They locked down these 3-man stunts with ease, and they gave Allen a ton of time to look down the field and make plays. Now, I really hate using the word slaughter this liberally, but close to nothing went wrong for the Bills. Allen ended the game going plus 11% in completion percentage over expected. His running back, Devin Singletary, he finished with 1.4 rush yards over expected per attempt. Also, and as I said before, the Bills converted on every single 3rd down that mattered. Needless to say, everybody performed well, and this was a complete domination from start to finish. Before we wrap up this video, I know some of my subscribers wanted me to answer the question on what happened to the Patriots defense. My main takeaways were the following. The Patriots front 7 was destroyed anytime they tried to defend the run with a light box. From their perspective, nobody won their individual matchups. The linebackers like Dont'a Hightower consistently were sealed out from their assigned gaps. On top of that, nobody on the defensive line could win and shed their respective blocks. They were consistently bullied all game. In the secondary, the same thing happened there too. I saw busted assignments, and I also saw individual cornerbacks just get straight up roasted off the line of scrimmage. Nobody could cover Dawson Knox in man coverage consistently. Even when the Patriots seemingly called the right defensive coverage or the right blitz, somebody screwed up the play so badly that it completely negated the brilliance of that play call. For example, this play in the 3rd quarter is a perfect illustration of this. You have a too-high look pre-snap while the Bills are lining up in shotgun. On this one, the nickel cornerback Miles Bryant is blitzing off the weak side. He doesn't give away his attention pre-snap, and he perfectly guns in the backfield. Anytime you see this, you look immediately at who he was initially covering. You have to hope that somebody will pick up that player long enough so that the blitzer can get home. Dont'a Hightower should have picked this up. I don't know if he just missed a play call or something else happened, but he was god-awful in this game. Now, on top of that, the safety at the top of your screen is also at fault too. He jumps forward and he's in space covering grass all by himself. There's literally nobody around him. So right away, you have a perfect blitz that was hitting home at the exact right moment. This was immediately followed by some of the worst coverage I've seen. This is terrible, and it was all over the Patriots film. To wrap up this video and going back to the Bills, Josh Allen's accuracy, his offensive line's great blocking, and a bunch of perfectly timed screw-ups from the defense was the name of the game here. Allen got the looks he wanted, and he made short work of this defense. Going forward, I can't imagine the Bills will have it this easy. They face the Chiefs next week, and you can argue that Kansas City is one of the best teams in all of football. This will be the game of the week for sure. What I'm looking for in this matchup, if Allen can continue to make accurate throw after accurate throw. I also want to see how the Chiefs will cover the Bills' crossing routes and Allen's design runs. And more importantly, I want to see what they'll do to pressure the quarterback, because this will make a huge difference as it's something the Patriots simply couldn't do. Well, that's all I have for you in this one. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and I hope you enjoyed the divisional round of the playoffs. Thanks again, and you can support me directly via my Patreon link below. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Samuel R. Gold.